Okay, Siman Ayin Aleph. So we've been talking about, the last one was about Oisik b'mitzvah Potem la-mitzvah, and that leads on to the Oval because it's the same concept. Rachmana litzlan, the Oval is Oisik b'mitzvah of Kvura, and therefore he's potter from Krias Shema as well. So says the halacha, Oval Oiskim b'meis p'tur me-Krias Shema, says the Mechava, Misha meis lo meis, someone whose nebuch suffered a bereavement, shel chayiv lehis abel olav, so one of the seven close krovim, mother, father, son, daughter, sister, brother, or spouse. Afilu eina mutal olav lekovrei, even if it's not them who's dealing with the actual kvura. Parts of Krias Shema mitfilah, they are exempt from Krias Shema tefillah. Afilim reitz lahachmir alatzme velikros eina rashai, and even if he wants to be machmir and to read it, eina rashai. But if he has somebody else who's going to deal with it, Chevra Kadisha, whoever, we don't protest against him. Okay, says the Mishabura Sivkot and Aleph. Shu Chayev. Shehem Shiva Krovim, like I just mentioned, of the aim, Ben Ubas, Ach V'Ochos V'Ishtoi. Base so it's not his direct responsibility. For example, his married sister passed away, Lebal. It's the husband of the sister who's going to deal with it, but still, nevertheless, you are exempt from Krias Shema. Sivkot and Gimel Potter V'imkara Eina Yotzer. Amazing. And if he did read Krias Shema, he's not Yotzer. And therefore, after the Levaya, he's got to go back and read Krias Shema again. He's potter from Krias Shema utfila, v'chein mikol brachas, and that is true with all brachas. And moreover, if you look in footnote 2, if you got them, he says v'im birech, and a person in that situation did make a bracha. He quotes from Shlomo Zalman in the name of Tosfos Emot Cotton, she'osalanos omen after his bracha. It's because it's a bracha l'vatala. In other words, the guy made a burpirate on an apple. He shouldn't have made a bracha. You can't answer amen to his bracha. And if, moreover, he made a bracha to be moitzi acherim, I don't know, he made nala michya to be moitzi other people. He says further on in Siman Kuf Sadites, shelo yotzi decheva. And therefore, the people who he was moitzi have got to make another bracha again. And that is true for all mitzvahs which are said in the Torah. What about fasting? Let's say Rachmana litzlan, a fellow is an Onen, so that means he doesn't put on tefillin, he doesn't Krias Shema. Does he have to fast? So he says in footnote 4, the Indian town is Sibur Kosov B'Shat Tziyun, the Kamon, she'onen chayev lehis anis, and Onen still has to fast, given shehi mitzvah she'ein tzrich lasik bo. I'm not busy with it, I'm just not eating. So therefore, that would be allowed. And then he says, what about Ner Chanukah? Right, so the Mechaber says that Misha Meis Le Meis, his Chaim Nisabel, one of the seven close relatives die, says, Oisik b'mitzvah Potem la-mitzvah. So what about Neres Chanukah? So he says, L'inyan mitzvahs Ner Chanukah, Kosav L'kamon, she'ishtei tadlik, his wife should light. V'im ein ishtei ima, and if that doesn't work, yadlik l'firsuminissa below bracha. Then he should light, but without a bracha, because the mitzvah pirsuminissa is so great. Okay, carrying on the Mishnah Berurah, we're at the beginning of Dalet. V'im reit tzilechel pas. If the guy wants to have a sandwich, and he's it's sort of in between the Petira and the Levaya, and he wants to eat some bread. After in tzarich levarach hamoitzi, even though he doesn't have to make the bracha of hamoitzi, mikol makom tzarich little yadav, he still has to do netilas yadayim. V'lo yevarech on netilah, and he doesn't make the bracha on the netilas yadayim. V'im yesh chabura be'er shenagin ksofim yuchadim lo hitzi hameis. If there is a group in the city that deal with it, so this is of course the Chevra Kadisha. And after the Krovim deal with the pressing matters, they pass them over to this Chevra Kadisha, and they deal with the Kvura. Once they sort of hand them over, then they're chayiv in all mitzvahs. Even if they haven't yet taken the mace out of the house, they've sort of handed him over, as it were, responsibility-wise to the Chevra Kadisha. Sheshuv Eina Mutla Alem is not considered their responsibility. So if in footnote 6, I know some of you haven't got it, but this is going right to the back of the book. In footnote 6, he says, very interesting. So let's say Rahman al-Islam, the person's one of the 7 close relatives passed away on a Sunday afternoon, and the Levi is not going to be till Monday morning. So the maces could still be in the house, and they've got people dealing with it and their shmir and whatever, and then the oval is going to go to sleep. Does he say Krias Shema Lamita? That's very interesting. So he says in footnote 6, which is the back of the Sefer, V'chenim nikba moed haLevayis liyom hamachros. The Levi is scheduled for the next day. Kosav agaru shlema zaman Orach and mincha shlema shekasheholchim krevo hameis lishain. When the Aveilus go to sleep, chayavim heim b'Kriyas Shema or b'Berachas Hamapil. They are chayav to say Kriyas Shema and Berachas Hamapil. Mishum shebemikra kazeh in shayachim atam mishenemru b'potim and Onen min mitzvahs. The whole svara is oisik mitzvah potim and mitzvah. You're not doing anything actively now. And you've got similar shilas, by the way, when if a mace goes to Eretz Yisrael and the Aveilus on the plane. So I've heard from Rabbi Roberts. So Roberts Zatzal used to say he never understood it. Why shouldn't you make brachas on the plane? What are you doing at that point that you're misasik in the Levaya? You can't do anything. You're on the plane. What can you do already? So it could be that now you've got WhatsApp on the plane, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the same sort of shilas. So according to all these svaras, l'chora you'd be chayiv in mitzvahs in that situation. Yeah. Okay, carrying on the Mishnah Berurah. Ulafizeh, I'm at the end of the first wide liner. Ulafizeh, lo yafa oisim ha'onenim shemamtinin lehispal al-adach hakvur. According to this situation, when you've handed over to the Chevra Kadisha and there's nothing for you to do, then it's not correct for those Onim to wait to daven until after the Kvura. The Tekef Kashin is Pashru im HaChabura Kadisha, as soon as you've dealt with the Chevra Kadisha, Ba'ad Mokim Kvura, V'noslon Hem Kol Eitzos V'tachrichim, and you've sort of handed everything over to them, Chayovim Lispala, you should daven. However, Lefam Mishadayin Enim Shovim Be'ezim Mokim Yikbru, you haven't finalized where exactly the Mokim Kvura is, and that's still considered Kvod Shemes to deal with it. Or you're very busy preparing the hesped or things like that. As I pot in that situation, you are indeed potter because you're busy with your Isik b'mitzvah. The tek of achazeh mutal ispal v'chayiv, and then immediately after you finish with that, then you are obligated, you are allowed, and you're actually chayiv to daven. But in a situation where there is no chevra kadisha, even though you've got someone who's dealing with things on your behalf, the anina stretches until the end of the kvura, and you put the offer on the mace. Then then immediately after the Levi, then you go back to the oil in the in the base oilam, and you say Krias Shema and you daven there. If the anina stretches until the end of Soisman Krias Shema, ad revi hayom, which is a quarter of the day, 3 hours in, kafi erech hashosh shel yom, kun teshos manias. V'im yispalel kaseiden, if he davens normally, he starts with brachas at the beginning and he does it slowly. Yavra zan shel Krias Shema, he's going to miss Sois on Krias Shema. Yikra Krias Shema b'le brachas. Make sure he davens. He should daven Krias Shema without brachas. V'achkach yispalel kaseiden, and then he davens in order. V'yikra oidapam Krias Shema, and then he says Krias Shema again when he gets to that place in davening. Ima brachas. V'im nimshach aninas ad lacha arba shois, and if the aninas for whatever reason, that's just how it works out, it stretches until 4 hours, which is Seisman Tefillah. Das HaMogen Avram, the Birchas HaShachar, Dahainu Mashe Koidin Baruch She'ama, the Birchas HaShachar, which is before Baruch She'ama, Lo Yomrim Av Sheyesh Lepnai. You should not say it even if there is time. Kiven Shebe'ez Ika Chiyuvu Baboike Hoyaz Potter. There's no point in saying Birchas HaShachar because at the time when you should have said Birchas HaShachar, you were exempt. Potem and Oisim Mitzvah, Potem and Mitzvah. You were an Onen, it was before the Levaya. V'yesh cholkin alav, and there are those who argue v'safik brachas lahakel. Zulas birchas haTorah. There are exceptions. There are some things, even though it's after the 4th hour and the Seisman Tefillah, there are some things which you still should say. What are they? Birchas haTorah, because that extends throughout the day. Or birchas shelos ani goy, v'shelos ani oved, v'shelos ani isha. Those brachas. Oisna brachas afla mogen Avram yuchel levarich. You can still make after the zman. V'lo yaniach tefillin. You don't put on tefillin. Ayin le'el b'simen lamed ches sif hey. Yispalel hayud ches brachas levad and you daven Shemona Esra. Sorry, yud ches brachas I think is talking about the other brachas the other birchas ha'shacha, birchas ha'torah, and things like that. I think it's referring to that. Avol birchas Krias Shema, mashma b'shulchan aruch, le'el b'siman nun ches yivov the kvar of azmanon. And therefore, since you've missed Krias Shema, then you don't say birchas Shema as well. You can say birchas Krias Shema, given the ba'inus of azman. It wasn't your fault, and therefore you are allowed to say birchas Krias Shema. Everyone agrees that you can say Pesukah de Zimra. If it is not yet reach Seisman Tefillah, show Shlish Hayom, which is a third of the day, even though it's just very close to it, if he davens in order, he's missed that deadline. And it will end up his davening Shemona Esra after the Zman of Tefillah. You do look Pesukah de Zimra, he should skip out Pesukah de Zimra, for anyone who comes late to shul and is going to have the same problem of missing Seisman Tefillah. Avalo yidlok b'Kriyas Shema. I shouldn't miss out Kriyas Shema or Birchas Klal or Birchas Kriyas Shema. Even if it means davening Shemona Esra after Seisman Tefillah. Ein schon b'time of yesh la'ayin lefi mash kosav mitchila. Oit kosav ha'beder Chaim. The elu ha'bracha shelos anigoy ve'eved ve'isha birchas ha'torah zmanan kol hayom. These brachas all day. V'afilu achatzos im nikba yomrim. Even if it's after chatzos, you can still say these brachas. Avol tefillah Shemona Esra lo yispal rak at chatzos. But the final deadline for Shemona Esra is chatzos v'lo yoseh, not beyond that. Gam ein tzorich lahashlim es tefillah b'tefillah smucha. And interestingly, so in that situation, Rachman, it's not a person who had a levaya of one of the 7 krovim, and therefore you've missed shacharis. Are you mashlim at mincha? So the answer is no, because the hashlama tashlumin is only if you were shegeg. There was some sort of, but here you were potter. Right? So he carries on and says, it's not the same as if you forgot or there was an onus. That if you didn't daven shacharis, you make it up at mincha time. The hasan be'emes hoya there, and that's in a regular situation, you're mechuyev. For whatever reason, you didn't daven. Mash'enkin kan, as opposed to here, daven potter midin, ikad din, you are exempt. V'chein adin b'mincha marav, and so too when it comes to mincha marav. V'hani mili im hoya meisa mutal lefonov me'es hascholas hachiv hatfila at hashlom zmano. If the mace is there from the beginning when the chiv began until the seisman, kagoin. So meisa mutal lefonov me'alos hashachar. And let's say alos hashachar is 6 o'clock in the morning, and the mace passed away at 3 o'clock in the morning. So there was never, and the Levi was at 12 o'clock, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So you've missed chatzos. There was never a time when you were mechuyev to do it. Then in that situation, then there's no chiyuv tashlumin. Avol, here interesting exception. Avol imeis la'achar shekva hischil chiyuv alov. But if the patira happened after alos hashacha, for example, alos was 6 o'clock, and the mace was the patira was at 7 o'clock. So there was an hour but you hadn't yet davened, and then the Levi is not till 3 in the afternoon. So then since there was a period of time where you were chayev, then you do two tashlumin. The hayel v'chol olav hachiv mitchilat shebozman tefillah. Afal pi shelo hoya shuhus ligmar tefillah. Mikol mokum kivin shechal olav hachiv chayev lahashlim achakach hatefillah bezman mincha. Okay, good. Ve'efshet bezeh chayev gam ken levorach birchas hashacha, and then it's appropriate to make birchas hashacha im lo birchen ba'boike kashekom mitos. We didn't do it straight away in the morning. To hob b'shas chiyuvan hu chayev v'ayin le'el siman nun beis beber halacha. Okay, then we said if a person wants to see machnins read it, eina rashai. His Onen, his potter from the mitzvahs. When there's no one else to deal with it, he's not allowed. His focus right now is just to deal with the kvura. Or we're talking about other situations. It's not covered for the mace for you to be davening now when you halacha says you're exempt. It shows you're not focused on the thing. And that's the opinion of the Mechaber, and that's the Ikadin. And what then he says afterwards, and someone who wants to be Machar himself, you can't protest against the guy who does the opposite. If he has got other people to deal with it, then there is what to rely on, and therefore we don't protest against him. Pirush, even if it's your responsibility to bury him, but there are other people who are going to deal with it. Because of Rashal B'tshuva, Siman Ayin she'achshav lo nag Rav Yah, and we don't allow the person to daven. Siman Shimim Aleph, that he says, check out your Yerdeh, Siman Shimim Aleph, the Shom Posag, the Ina Rashai lahachme b'chol gavni, v'chein Ika. V'mekol makom bein shehu Onen al Oviv, v'yeshim is asking biladoi, mutale, he is allowed, mutale lelech v'beis HaKnesses lemekadesh alav, kizel kodesh al Oviv, that's considered the cover for the father, v'mutale kula alma, mikosh ken b'shabbos v'yontav, v'davke kshe'en avelim acherim, ava kshe'esh avelim acherim, loi, then not. Okay. Say that. I remember when my father was nifta, it was unbelievable. He was nifta at 12 o'clock at midday. That morning, we were there whole night. We were in the hospital, but he was looking a bit better, so I managed to go out to daven. I davened with the minyan. I went to school. I said shir, and I left early. Came back. We were all there at the time of the patira, and the kvura was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was the quickest turnaround in, I think, U.S. history. And there was still time. It was cheshvan. It was just now. But there was still time to daven mincha afterwards. And not only did I not miss tefillin or krishma, I didn't even miss tefillin but tzibur, which is it's very unusual. It's very unusual. No, we should have simchas, Mr. Hashem. Yeah.